My name is Gavin Wheel and I'm the Managing Director of Futures Ltd, which is a social enterprise that uses magazines and media to empower and improve the lives of young people. Futures, well, it's a not-for-profit company, it's a social enterprise, and the main thing we do is publish Live magazine, which is this magazine, which is entirely created by 13 to 22-year-olds from South London in this publication under mentorship from professional journalists, designers. The young people, predominantly from disadvantaged backgrounds, haven't engaged with the education system. And we bring them into our office to work alongside us and give them the tools and the training that they need to create their own magazine. And along the way we offer accreditation and we try and help them into work or back into education. And they have absolute editorial and creative freedom and control. You know, our mentors are there just to facilitate the process, essentially. So we work with professional journalists who are part-time working on their own, professional careers, and then part-time with us, working directly with the young people. So we've got currently two main Live magazine titles. There's the one in South London that covers 2 London boroughs, Lambeth and Lewisham. We distribute 20,000 copies into youth provisions across South London, and also we have street teams of young people handing it out to other young people. So everything we do is meant to be, as far as possible, youth owned. Last year we launched a new magazine called wiith, which is exactly the same but in a different area. So it's based in East London, our East London, not your East London, and it's aimed at the London boroughs of Newham and Tower Hamlets. Same methodology, and the first issue came out in November 2009. I mean, that's not all we do, that's kind of the core of our business, that's why our business was set up. Live began as a marketing campaign for the local council. And Live has a sister company which it grew out of called Liberty. Liberty is a socially responsible marketing agency. So it was set up to try and use the power of brands, the power of marketing communications, but for positive messages and for positive social effect. So on one hand we work for PlayStation, and we've done work for Nike and O2 and some of the biggest brands in the UK on specific kind of niche campaigns aimed at young people. And then on the other side of the coin we do a lot of central government communications work. So we've done a campaign to attract more blood donors in ethnic minority communities, and we also work with some charities like the NSPCC and also the Teenage Cancer Trust. So Live began in that way as this marketing campaign, and actually became this training initiative without us ever intending it to. We opened the doors of our office, there was only 4 of us then. We recruited some friends who were journalists. That's how I got into it, because I was a journalist originally. And we went to a local youth club and got some kids to come in as our first little team of reporters. And they produced a magazine which is much smaller and much simpler and less snazzy than it is today. But once it got distributed and other young people saw that there were their peers essentially creating this magazine, and that it felt credible and relevant, and it obviously wasn't produced by a 50-year-old counsellor, then they really started coming in droves and knocking on our door, calling up saying, I want to get involved, I want to be in the magazine, I want to interview Dizzy Rascal. So it's got this kind of real exciting hook for young people. What we found is by coming into our office, spending time working on features and design and photography, and working alongside us as well, because we carried on doing our campaign work, there were these real solid educational life progression benefits. We saw kids who would come in having dropped out of school, a year later they're going back to college because they've re-engaged with what they want to do and the options available. We thought if we can embed training within what we do, that's going to be even more powerful. So we've done that. We've got a journalism training course that runs through what we do so the kids can get proper recognised accreditation for taking part. And I think at last count, in the last 12 months, we've helped 80 young people back into education or onto employment. The Live magazine started in 2001. Live Futures became a company in its own right in 2004. We built the company through our own commercial work on the Live Futures side as well. For example, we worked for the BBC. We created a project for them called Live Insight, which is a panel of 16 to 24-year-olds around the UK, and they have a direct line to programme makers. We have a third company which is slightly removed but is part of the family, called Dubplate Drama. And Dubplate Drama is an interactive TV show, again aimed at an urban audience. It's the story of a young MC in London trying to make her way in the music industry, and she along the way faces a number of moral dilemmas.
So you want to make music? Don't everybody? But you're different. You're special.
We're #1.
You're on the verge of being rich and famous, everything you ever dreamed of.
Stick with me, Black. That's what I told you, innit?
So at the end of each episode, there'll be a cliffhanger and the audience gets to decide what happens next. It's got that kind of moral aspect of challenging young people to think and discuss about these issues. The series features lots of kind of famous musicians from that genre. In the first series we had a drugs information charity, and when the young people texted in to vote, they got a bounce back text which had the details of this drugs information line. For the second and third series we got the bumpers in the ad break sponsored by Childline, which is a service in the UK for young people to call and talk about issues. Suddenly there was more males calling, and also the ethnic demographic of the calls to Childline dramatically changed throughout the series. Again, I think bringing a brand together with a government issue, but also a sort of charity sector issue really succeeded. Live East, for example, is funded by the Home Office in the UK, and part of its remit is to tackle the roots of violent extremism in East London. I'm part of the British Council's UK Young Entrepreneur of the Year award for creative industries. I'm on the publishing strand, and they want to encourage young entrepreneurs from the UK to engage with the South African market, and ideally to begin initiatives here and to begin working across the continents. It feels that there is a lot of opportunity here for this kind of work. I think what I'm really interested in is the emerging and perhaps untapped audience, which is the majority of the country, and how those young people can be reached with positive social messages. Someone experiencing creativity and the joys of producing something. I think print for us is really important, because if a kid comes in and gets creative, creates an article, and then a month or two later is printed and they have the magazine in their hands and they see their work, that is the catalyst. That can be the thing that gets them on a journey, and can really change the course of someone's life. So yeah, we see that. We see creativity changing the world every day, I think.